Hey guys, and welcome to another Tkinter video here on the Coder's Legacy channel. In this video, we'll be beginning project number 5 in our Tkinter project series. So as you might know, if you've been following the series, that we're going to be making a syntax highlighter. Okay, now it's a pretty cool concept. It's pretty complicated as well. So we're going to take out a lot of time. We might even divide this into 2 videos depending on how long the explanation takes, because it's going to be pretty lengthy. So on screen right now, you can actually see the Tkinter project 4, which is the notepad that we made. Okay, we're just going to be building the syntax highlighter on top of the notepad that we made in the previous video. Okay, because it has some handy features and stuff like undo and print and clear, and of course we're going to be working in a text widget. Okay, so that's kind of important. So yeah, by the end of the video, hopefully what we'll have is something not really a syntax highlighter, but even better. Something like a code editor. Okay, so that's something that we're going to take a look at. Okay, because this is something we can go into a lot of depth, a lot of detail, and we aren't actually going to finish the whole thing. Okay, I'll be honest, the syntax highlighter that that we're going to end up with isn't actually some kind of professional level syntax highlighter. Okay, it's more like it's rather crude, and I'm actually hoping to teach you guys the concept behind it rather than actually give you a finished product or something. There are going to be bugs, there are going to be a few mistakes in there, okay, and the code isn't exactly going to be very great, but I do hope that you guys will pick up something useful along the way. So I'll actually have a demo play on screen right now. Okay, you guys can see the syntax highlighter here in action and how it actually works. You can see it coloring the code in front of you. You can also see it indenting the code, okay, which is something pretty cool as well. Okay, so yeah, if you think this is if you think this is cool and all, then let's proceed with the video. Okay, so again, back to the code over here. I'll just be editing this code over here, okay, and modifying it. So the very first thing we need to do is actually explain the concept behind tags and marks. Okay, marks will come in a bit later, but let's discuss tags right now. Okay, what are tags in Tkinter? Tags are actually the main component behind the syntax highlighting that we're going to be doing. Okay, tags are basically used to add in color. They're used to add in different fonts and different font sizes and different font types, and you can use them on a certain range. Okay, when you use a tag to change the color of the text, you don't change the color of all the text in the text widget. The tag can be applied on a certain range. Okay, you apply it on you can apply it on a certain word, you can apply it on certain characters or several words or several lines. And to do that, to define this range, we use marks. Okay, we sort of mark it down, like that's the start of the tag, that's the end of the tag, and then we basically apply the tag on that range. Okay, so that's basically what marks and tags are. Okay, so we'll be using these in today's video. So let's go ahead and create some tags. Okay, the very first thing we'll do is actually just separate the area around the text widget. Okay, just so that we get some good working space. Okay, it's looking a little too cluttered right now. Okay, there you go. Now we'll be making some tags in here. Okay, so you make a tag like this, self.t1, which is our text widget, and then you do underscore configure. Okay, and the first parameter is going to be the name of the tag. Okay, so let's say I'm just going to call it red. Okay, this is just the name, by the way. And then the second parameter is going to be foreground. Okay, foreground color. So I'm going to do red. The reason I'm calling it red is because it's going to turn the text red. Okay, so I'm just being a literal over here. There's another parameter called font that you can use. Okay, like TK fixed font, and then you can define the size over here like 20 or 10 or 12. But I'm not going to use this, okay, because it's just avoid using it, okay, because if you have different types of fonts in the same text widget, it's going to look weird, trust me. Each of them are slightly different in size, so even if you give them all the same size, like 10, they're still going to appear different in size, and it's going to look weird, okay, so try to avoid that. So I'm just going to configure 1 or 2 more tags, okay, and let's just start copy pasting this actually. we'll go ahead and create a few of these. 5, okay? One for green, okay? One for yellow. What else is there? Something blue, maybe? Okay. And maybe we'll make something pink, okay? So one tag which is pink, okay? Now let's make a list of all these tag names, okay? Because this will come in handy later. Okay, the first one is red, then is green, then is yellow, then is blue, okay? And then is pink. Great, okay? So now we have our tags configured and we have a list of all the tag names as well, okay? So what's the next step? The next step is actually applying this tag, okay? Because if I apply this tag over a word, for instance, then it'll turn that word red, okay? So we need to figure out how to apply these, and we'll be using marks for those, okay? Marks. I almost forgot though. There's still one major thing that we haven't actually added. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll just add this over here, okay, within the text section. So I'm going to call it self.wordList, okay? It's going to be a list of keywords or specific words that we want to be highlighted, to be syntax highlighted, okay? So this is going to be a 2D list, okay? And it's going to have many small lists within it. So for example, let's pick some random words that we find in our programming language, so like import, okay? These are keywords, and from, and as, okay? These are the words that you see in import statements, okay? And then let's make another one. Let's make another one for, let's take a look at the code. Okay, let's make one for class, for def, for what other keywords do you see usually in programming languages? Yeah, for, if, else, elif. Okay, great. Now let's make another one for something else. Data types. Let's make one for data types. Okay, integer, string, float, and what else? Is there anything else? Bool, I guess. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, and let's make another one. Okay, I basically want to make 5. I want to make 5 lists of keywords, okay, because we made 5 tags. Okay, so what else? Think of something else. How about library names? Okay, Pygame and Tkinter, and what else? Some other libraries like sys, os, and let's do one more. MySQL, okay. And one last one. How about we make this one for numbers, okay? We can basically color all the numbers in our syntax highlighter, okay? So let's just write all the numbers down here, okay? Almost done. Great, we're done, okay? And with this we have a list of words, okay, or lists of words set up where we basically will apply one tag on each list. So for example, we have red over here, so we can apply red onto this one. We have green, so we can apply green onto this one. We have yellow over here, the yellow tag, we can apply it on this one, like that, okay? So now obviously this is a very, very incomplete word list. When you guys, I'll of course make the code available for you guys. So when you guys work with it, you can go ahead and add in all of the missing ones, okay? This is just for demonstration purposes, okay? So, and of course you guys can change up the coloring scheme as well. We'll of course be changing it as well. I'm going to try to match the color scheme of the Python, the standard Python IDE that we're currently working in, okay? So let's go down and let's actually begin working on actually making the highlight function, okay? So I see all this code over here. Okay, so before we actually begin, let's just try cleaning up a few things. I'm going to make a new function called update, okay? And I'm just going to call stackify in this, okay? And This is from the previous tutorial. You can pretty much ignore all this, okay? If you're not interested, that is. But I do highly suggest that you go and check out the previous one. So over here, I'm just gonna remove this. I'm just cleaning up some code here, okay? I'll say call the windows.update function, okay? And windows.update will call self.stackify, okay? Great. The reason I'm doing this is because over here I want to actually call in that function that we make, tag highlighting, okay? Tag highlight. I haven't made it yet though. So let's go ahead and do that. It's called tag highlight. Okay? And this is actually going to take some parameters, okay? The very first thing that I want this to take as parameters is going to be, or actually, do we really need to take any parameters? Because I can access the word list just fine from here, I guess. Okay? Okay, let's try doing this without parameters. Okay, it'll make things a little simpler. Okay, so over here what I'm going to do is set up two for loops, okay? Basically for word in word, for list in, okay, list is a keyword, so showing up as purple over there. So what should I do about this? Let's call this for my list in word list, okay? And for word in my list, okay? I've set up the two for loops over here, okay? Now, what do I actually do in these two for loops? Basically, what's happening in this one is that we're iterating over each list within the lists of word, okay? And over here, what I'm doing is that I'm iterating over each word in each one of those individual lists, okay? So how do I deal with this scenario going forward? Okay, well, the very first thing we need to do is define a start point, okay? A start point, a starting index, which is going to be, in my case, the first line, okay? Then I'll define an end point, which is just going to be end, because I want to basically, this is basically the highlighting range, okay? I want my highlighting range to be from the start of the document to the end of the document, okay? If you want to do something like you only want to highlight a specific line or something, you could change it accordingly, like this or something, okay? Totally up to you. But in my case, I want to do the whole document, so from start to end. And one mistake I noticed here, this needs to be self.wordList, okay? Otherwise, we won't be able to access it, okay? Okay, now let's actually begin. So the very first thing I want to do is basically find out the index number that we're on, okay? We'll use this later. Basically, self.wordList index my list. And I think this returns a string value, I think, so I'm just going to convert this to an integer, okay? So basically what happens here is that, for instance, usually we have loops like for I in range 0 to 5, so we can just use the value of I to find out the index number, like 0, 1, 2, 3, but we don't have that over here since we're iterating directly. It's like a for each loop if you've done C++ or something. So over here, basically, I'm finding out the index number. So when the first iteration is going on, when the first list is being evaluated, then this will be 0, in the second it'll be 1, in the third it'll be 2, and so on, okay? Next up, I'm going to set up some, actually I'm going to set them up in here, okay? Over here, I'm going to set up some marks, okay? So it's not actually that complicated. It's just self.text, because, text widget. Then set, okay? Now this takes two parameters. The name of the mark, this is just like the tags, okay? You just need a name. So I'll call this one match start, okay? Meaning the start of the match, okay? Again, I'll explain this more later. So this takes an index number, because I mentioned this earlier, you basically place marks to define a range, right? So you need to basically specify the index on which you want that mark to be. So in this case, we're actually initializing them right now, okay? We're initializing the marks. Sorry about that, okay? So over here, I'm saying that I want to set this mark at the start, okay? Next is mark set. Same thing, but the name is different, which means we're making a new mark. It's called match end. And I'm also going to put this at the start, okay? Because we're initializing them right now. and we don't have a match. So the start and the end of the match are the same. And basically what we're matching here for, if you haven't already realized, is for patterns. Okay, we're basically matching for these words that we created up here. Okay, that's our goal. We're gonna find that. Okay, we're gonna find those words like import. Then we're gonna set this mark, okay, to the start of that word. We're gonna set this mark to the end of that word, and then we're gonna apply the tag between that, between the range specified by this mark. Okay, by the marks, I mean. And we're gonna set up a third one, actually, a third mark. This is called search limit. Okay, and we'll put this at the end. Okay, you can use this search limit mark to basically change your the final search range. Okay, because if you, for instance, change this up here, as I said earlier, to 2.0, then this mark will not let you search past the second line. Okay, so yeah, this is like your limiter. Okay, because right now we just set it up to the end of the text widget. Okay, so we can search the whole thing. Okay, now we're going to set up a while true loop. Okay, and here we're actually going to make a search. And the reason why it's a while true is because we're going to continuously keep searching. Okay, we're going to keep searching for the patterns. Okay, we're going to search for this word, for this specific word in the text widget until we reach the end of the document. Okay, and that's actually where we'll call a break statement. Okay, and basically break this loop. And now we need to use a very, very important feature or function. It's called self.widget, self.text in this case, search. Okay, the search function is basically something that'll take a big weight off our shoulders. We don't need to actually make the search function. Okay, we're just doing everything else. The search function will basically automatically go and search for a specified word within that range. And if I remember correctly, it was word. That's the first parameter. The second parameter is going to be the starting point, okay, for the search. And the third parameter is going to be the end point. And this takes marks, okay, as parameters. It takes a mark name. And what is the start point for the first one? Match end. Okay, now why is this match end? You may wonder. And the reason for that is, if you find a word, okay, let's say we found the word import, okay, now do you want to start searching again from the start of that word or the end of that word? You want to resume searching from the end of this word, right? Because otherwise you'll just keep finding the same word over and over again. Okay, so that's why we use match end. And because match end is initialized to start, then it all works out. Okay. The second one, which is basically the limit, or the third parameter, is going to be search limit. Okay, the tag that we called search limit. Then there's another parameter called count, and this reminds me, actually we need to go set up a count variable. Okay, int var. This is basically something that can hold integers. Okay, it's a special Tkinter kind of thing. It's used in radio buttons and check buttons. Okay. Okay, so in here I'm gonna write count is equal to count. Okay, or just for differentiation, I'll call this one my count. Okay, just so you guys have an easier time following. The third parameter, sorry, the fifth one and the last one is called regular expression. And let's just try to tone down the space a bit. Okay, regular expression is equal to false. And in case you guys know about regular expressions, you can basically use regular expressions over here to basically search. Okay, you can use regular expressions to actually, you can input regular expressions into the search function, and it'll search for them. Okay, you don't need to specify exact words. The regular expressions are great because you can just specify a pattern. Okay, and then it'll search for that pattern. It's very flexible. Okay, and I might make a video on this later, so I'll include that in the description below. Okay, so make sure to check that out. Okay, so here I want to basically review this. What have I done here? Basically, a search for this word within this this range, and return the size of the, or the length of the search. Okay, like you made a search and you found something. Return is size. Okay, that's what the count is. It's basically the length. And regular expressions is equal to false. okay, because we're not using regular expressions right now. We'll actually use them in the next video that we will make for syntax highlighting, okay, because this is clearly going to take more than one video, okay. So in this video I'll just finish tag highlighting. In the next one we'll take a look at some of the regular expressions, we'll take a look at code indenting, and one or two other things. We'll just see how much we can cover in this video, okay. The rest we'll do in the next one. So, okay, so that's basically what the search function is, and over here I'm going to come down and define our break statements, okay, and we're almost done here, by the way, we're almost done. So over here, if index is equal to empty break, okay, the reason for this is that if there's no search found, the search function will return an empty string, okay, and it'll break it, okay, end of story. And there's just one extra precautionary statement that I'm going to write here. Okay, this is just a extreme case that can sometimes occur from what I've heard. So I'm just going to do this. If my count.get is equal to 0, break. Okay, this will sometimes occur in empty strings or something. So basically, if the length of the returned pattern is 0, break this loop. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next word in the list. Okay, so now if we've made it this far, okay, if we make it past these two statements, then we know that we've found a valid match. So now we're going to go and update the marks, okay. I'm going to update the position of the match start mark, okay, and where will I put it? I'm going to put it at the index, okay. Index basically refers, returns us the starting position of the match that we found, okay. So I'll just put the match start is equal to basically index. And over here, I'm going to set the match end, and this is going to be slightly complicated, but this is basically a bit of, what do you call it, formatting, I guess. So I hope you recognize this maybe. And let me just complete the whole thing before explaining it, okay. Index and count.get, okay. So basically what's going on here is that these are placeholders, okay. This percentage sign and s are placeholders. Basically what happens is that the value of index is going to go in here, and the value of count.get will go into here. So basically it's going to be the starting point plus the number of characters, okay. So if it was like length 5, then it'll be line 1, for instance, plus 5. So that's the end point for the match. So I think I hope you guys got this. Okay, this is basically just this format, of line plus characters. So that's basically a thing of the text widget, and this entire percentage sign is just a sign of string formatting in Python. Okay, that's just that's how it is. So one last line is left. Self.text.tag add. And finally, I hope this works out everything. And over here is going to be self.tags. And just to confirm, did I declare it as self.tags? Yes, I did. Okay, good. That means we can access it over here. So self.tags and num. Okay, I want you to access the one at this index. So basically, if this is the first one, if this is the first list we're iterating through, it's going to give us the first tag. Okay, so like that. And this takes the start point and the end point, okay, just like I mentioned earlier, okay. Now let me run this, and hopefully this should work out. Actually it won't, because there's one step that I forgot, okay. I need to go to the update function and call tag highlight, okay. Looks good. Alright, and let's try this out. Alright, print. Okay, that didn't work out. What about if? Else? Nope. Print. And what about something else like, what else keywords did I add? Pygame? Nope, not working. Tkinter, not working. Okay, why is this? Let's find out. Aha, I see. I forgot to do this, okay? I forgot to add in these two brackets over here. So let's try running the code now, and let's write pygame. Okay, there's a mistake here. What is the problem? Window object has no attribute text. So what is that supposed to mean? Let's go take a look. Okay. I actually made a very silly mistake here, because actually in the tutorial I just did actually a while ago, I actually referred to the text widget as text, so not T1. So yeah, silly mistake on my end. So I just need to go and change all these to T1. Silly me. Okay. Done. One left, I think. Any more? No, I think we're good. So let's run this. Okay, Pygame. Okay, still a problem. TK. Okay, again. Of course. This is what happens when I shift between projects. Okay, in one of them I imported Tkinter as TK, and one of them I imported Tkinter as a whole. Okay, still a slight problem. What's going on? Count is not defined. Of course, because I called it my count. It's not count. Okay, now will you please work? Okay, great. Look at that. It works. Okay, that's green. That's turning green. Let's take a number. It's turning pink. Okay, what else? What else did we do? Import. Yep, that turns red. And we should add stuff like print as well. Okay, there's a slight error over here. You can see that the integers and stuff are supposed to be yellow. But if I write something like print, basically it's highlighting int, which is correct technically, but it doesn't recognize that it's part of a word. So that's something we need to take a look at. So how are we going to fix this problem where it's basically affecting substrings? Like if I wrote print, and it's basically, even though I don't have print written anywhere in the word list for highlighting, it's taking int and making it highlighted, and that's wrong. We don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is basically create a new function called check. Okay, and this function is going to be responsible for checking the letters before and after the pattern found. Okay, because if there's a letter over there, that means that it's part of another word. Okay, like if I found the letter before int, that would be R. Okay, in print. So I can see that it's a letter. Okay, we have a letter before the pattern found. This means it's part of a word. Okay, so that means that we won't apply the highlighting on it. So what is check going to take? It'll take the index. It'll take a pre-position, okay, a position before the pattern, and a post position, a letter after the pattern found. Okay, and the way we're going to set this up is that if this function returns true, if self.check returns true, then basically add the tag highlighting. Otherwise, don't. Okay, and these two parameters over here are something we need to figure out. How are we going to get the pre-value, the letter before the pattern and after the pattern? Well, luckily it's not that hard. Okay, pre-index, okay, and post-index. Okay, and I'm just going to use the same format that we used over here. Okay, copy paste, and I put this over here. Great. Now for post, it's just a simple matter of plussing 1. For pre, we just need to change this to minus instead of plus, and just write 1 over here. So basically, index minus 1, that's what this is, and index, the end point, okay, it's like the starting point plus the end plus 1. So that'll give us the post index position. Okay, so we'll just come down here and pass these in. Okay, post index, great. Okay, so let's come down here and actually begin coding. The first thing I need to do is go set up a list of letters. Okay, I know this is kind of lame, but this is just my approach here. You can come up with a better one. Okay, great, done. So next up, we're actually going to begin the coding. Now, there's one slight case over here that we can run into, which is why we just can't undiscriminately check the letter before and after. Is because what if the word that we found is in the start of the start of the line? So what if it's at the start of the line? There won't be any word before it, right? There won't be any letter before it, I mean. So we need to come up with a slight case for that. I'm basically going to say if self.text And sorry, I made the same mistake again. It's t1. If self.t1.get index is equal to self.t1.get pre, okay, then pre is equal to index. Okay, so basically what I said here is that if the index value, the starting point, and the character before the index are the same thing, then just make the previous value the index. Okay, and give it the value of the index, which is the start of the word, because there isn't anything before that. Okay, so then we'll set up an else statement. If self.t1. Pre in list, in letters, I mean, return 0. Return 0, why? Because if the letter at the pre position, okay, is in this letters array, this letters list. So if that means that if there was a letter before the pattern found, then return 0 because the check failed. So that's basically what this is. There's going to be a return 1 statement here that only activates if all the conditions were cleared. Okay, and there's one more condition that we need to do, which is basically just the same thing as what we just did. Self.get.post in letters return 0. Okay, so that's basically it. That's all we have to do. Okay, we're done. So should we try this now? Okay, so let's try writing print again. And great, look, nothing happened. That means it's working. And the regular stuff is all working. So if, else, okay, we don't have indenting working right now, so that's why that's not gonna work right now. And that's in the next video. Okay, so yeah, pretty cool. So how about this? Let's go and copy some random code and just paste it in here to see how it works. Okay. And you know what? Let's just pick up some random code from here. Okay, and let's go here, copy that in. That doesn't look very good because pretty much all of this is just unique stuff. Okay, so you know what? Actually, one more thing. I'm noticing there are a lot of strings over here. Okay, the strings will add in a little something for them in the next video. Okay, we'll basically add in the ability to detect strings and color them. Okay. Did I not add import? Okay. Import from DQ. That's weird. It's not working on some occasions. Okay, so I found the problem. Turns out we need to remove this +1 from here, and that's because basically match end over here, as you can see, it already points to the character after the string, after the pattern that was found, which is already what we want. So there's no need to do anything. Okay, so basically this is just fine. We don't need the +1, but we still need the -1 over here. Why? Because index points to the first character. Okay, it points to the first character in the pattern. We don't want that. We want the ones before it and after it. So that's why I will -1 over here. Okay, so let's just run this now, and I'll copy paste some code here. Okay, and you can see that it's coloring correctly. Okay, those keywords, and let's just add in some extra statements like import igame. Okay, import Tkinter as tk, and you can see it's all working correctly. Okay, if it's working correctly, while did we add while? I don't think we did. Well, at any rate, you can go ahead and actually add in these extra words in here. We don't have while in here, so you can go ahead and add that. You can add break as well. You can add while. And whatever other words you want to add in here, go ahead and feel free to add them, okay? Okay, so I think that's enough for now. In the next video, we'll actually take a look at comments and stuff, because you can see here in this code that this comment over here is not colored. The strings over here aren't colored. And we'll actually take a look at this. We'll actually fix this. And along the way, these issues will also be fixed, where the if in this comment is being highlighted and, etc. So we'll fix all of these issues as well, okay? So see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys subscribe and leave a comment, leave some feedback, and leave a like, hopefully. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.